Hello and welcome into March to the Pod presented by Eternal Roofing, a show that cut the background music off pretty darn quick right there, Ben.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. Off to a rousing start today. Speaking of that, we got a lot to talk about. The Cats, they were eating up some baseball awards after they did Savip. That's right, Jack State got the old. Yeah, they did. Also, stadium renovations have begun on Bauer Stadium, and we have an updated photo to show you that is it's pretty impressive. And then we're going to go back to baseball and talk about the Conference USA tournament, which is starting tonight. We're recording this on Wednesday, 7:30 tonight is going to be the Bearcats opening game, and so we're going to give you a preview of the tournament, preview of this game, what to expect as they take on Liberty, if I'm not mistaken, which sometimes I am, but I believe Liberty was the 5 seed.
That is correct.
And you know why?
Because the Cats. Yep.
That's right. That's right. The Sweep did it.
Well, and they were on the other end of it at against Louisiana Tech also.
They were. They only had to lose 2, and then they decided to go full. Good job. Hey, good job, Mail Texters, by the way.
Yeah.
I want to shout out to them. Good job. I'm your host, Corey Hogue, the non-FBS insider at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Find me on your favorite social media channels at Corey Hogue Sports, all one word, CORYHOGUE Sports. I'm joined by the creator and manager of Sports of SHSU, again, all one word, on Twitter and Instagram. He is the chief operating officer of the Cat Fund and a proud Bearcat alum, Ben Sorrells. Ben, I think we need to start off here first by, if you are anywhere from Iowa to Tennessee to North Carolina down through the coast, all the way down to the Gulf Coast, for crying out loud, you better be weather aware every day right now, which means if you've had some bad weather, we know some people who can help you out.
Yeah, and that is Eternal Roofing. I know the Houston area was hit especially hard. There's been a lot of places all over the country get hard, and I know there's possibly another round of it coming through tonight. So, yeah, be prepared. Go to Eternal Roofing. If you need work done, go to Eternal Roofing. And Corey's magnificently popped up the email and phone number there on the screen.
Yeah, listen, if you've had some problems, they're the people you want to call. Like, honestly, Ben, if I was to need a roofing thing done, I want to know that I'm getting good people. And that's what you get when you go to Eternal Roofing and Taylor Andrus. And they're going to give you a free detailed inspection. They'll get to you as soon as they can. It's going to be very fast, very professional. They're not going to pressure you at all. They're going to tell you what you need, and everything is going to be of excellent quality. So give them a call or visit them. You can visit eternalroofingtx.com, see some of the work they've done. You can give them a call in Montgomery County, area code 936-215-8539. If you're in the Hill Country, area code 830-251-5673. Or you can email Taylor at eternalroofingtx.com. And if you missed any of that, head over to the YouTube channel, Dave Campbell's YouTube channel, and you will see the numbers on the screen, and you can write those down. All right, Ben. It was quite a year for Cats baseball. Quite a year.
A little bit of everything, that's for sure.
It was. Hey, look, they were up and down, right? Started well, faded, got better. Finished the season, man, with 2 consecutive. That's right, 2 consecutive sweeps. They head into the conference tournament on a really good note. They're feeling really, really well, and really good, and they should. And let's get into part of the reason why. Because they've got guys like, I don't know, Waker Janek, right?
It's always a good day when you have him on your team.
Pretty good. Like, we're showing you, if you're looking here on Dave Campbell's YouTube, Waker Janek is the Golden Spikes Award semifinalist. He is the 3rd one in program history. And by the way, they've all come recent. which is really, it shows how well the baseball program has been going and how it's been built. He's also today, and this was named just a couple hours ago, if that. He was the semifinalist for the Buster Posey Award. So, and I'll tell you, looking at some odds, I think he has a really good shot at winning that one, Ben. The Buster Posey Award could very well be coming to Huntsville.
Yeah, and I don't know if we've ever had kind of a national award winner of that caliber. I mean, the Buster Posey Award is a pretty prestigious award. It's a big-time award when it comes to college baseball. So would be really cool if he wins it. And I think, like you said, he's got a really good shot at it. I mean, I can't really think of any other catchers that are gonna top him. So we'll see.
Well, that wasn't all he did this week, you know. He was also named Defensive Player of the Year and First Team All Conference.
Yeah,
right.
Defensive Player of the Year. I think he threw out 15 of 29 attempted stolen bases, and so he's over 50%, which is extremely impressive.
Oh, it is. Well, and even you talk about his defense. His defense is top notch. He's really good at even framing pitches, but his offensive numbers, Ben, these things are not stuff you see at a college level very often. 55 games so far, a 381 batting average. This OPS is Mike Trout in his prime. Trying to think of the current player. Oh, man, I don't even know of a current player that's getting close to a 1.235 OPS.
Yeah, none in the MLB. There's a handful in college, but nothing in the MLB.
There was somebody a couple weeks ago that was raking that hot to start the season out. But, I mean, at Mike Trout's best, he was at a 1.2 OPS, right? So it's really, really hard to get there. And of that, 55 runs, Ben, in 55 games.
Yeah, I mean, he produces. And, I mean, he does really a little bit of everything. I said he threw out 15 guys. He also stole 13 bases. And so, I mean, he can hit for power, hit for average, hit for contact, steal bases, throw runners out. I mean, he can do anything you ask him.
13 for 17 stolen bases.
It's good.
Back in my day, catchers didn't have speed like that. You know, I mean, the Johnny Benches and the Carlton Fiskes, which were a little before my time. Pudge Rodriguez didn't even have speed like that, man. Now, that was during my time.
Yeah, and I think the thing that makes him so elite is, I mean, catchers at the MLB level, I mean, just catching the ball and framing and playing defense is so important. You don't see a lot of catchers produce offensively. I mean, there's a handful, maybe 10 of them, but he shows he can control the game behind the plate, and he can do it with the bat, which is really unique today.
Here's some other ones. 15 doubles, 5 triples, and 17 home runs with 57 RBIs so far this year. That's incredible. A slugging percentage of 743, 39 walks, 41 strikeouts.
Yeah.
That's a good ratio.
Yeah, not even striking out once per game.
And on-base percentage, 492. He is on base this whole season, been 55 games. Half the time he's come to the plate, he gets on base.
Yeah, and it's not all about the average. I mean, guy walks 10, what is that, almost 15% of the time?
It's a lot.
11, 12%.
Is there any, I mean, we talk about 5-tool players and stuff. And look, do I think he's going to win the Golden Spikes Award? I don't. I think that kid from Florida may have the best shot again this year. But regardless, when you talk 5-tool pro prospects, that has nothing to do with your Golden Spikes Award, right? That has to do with your ability to play your position. And as a catcher, by the way, shout out Portland. That's where he's from, which is out there near Corpus Christi. Shout out to Portland. You should be very proud of Janek Walker, because he has done amazing things. But he's got the arm. He's got the bat. He's got an eye. He's got some speed for his position. Ben, I'm going to go ahead and say right now, I will be shocked if he's not a first-round pick. And, well, no, I'll be shocked if he's not a top 15 pick. And I will be totally surprised if he's not a first-round pick.
Yeah, he's projected somewhere in the 15 to 20 range by most people right now, which I think is probably where he's going to land.
Funny, I did not know that actually.
Yeah, most places have him 15 to 20.
I think he's top 15, and I think somewhat because of his position too, right? Like there are a few positions in baseball that you just can't coach and teach a lot of times at the major league level. You don't have time in or you have time, but it just doesn't work. Catcher is one of those. If you've got a guy that he's already put himself ahead of the group, and they're going to want to push this. So if you're a catcher, you're a pitcher, you're a good center fielder, right? Good shortstop. You are selected before some of the others will be. And so I think just the fact that he's a catcher, and in my opinion, the best catcher in the country, I think that'll land him in the top 15.
Yeah, and I feel like he's also a guy that could sign under slot. And so a team might want to pick him a little earlier. They can maybe save some money for later rounds. He's not really the kind of guy that's going to try to push the slot value or try to go above it. So that could play into it also.
My apologies to Walker and his agent, whose job just became a little more difficult because Ben Sorrells. Send your hate mail.
I mean, what's the difference between like 1.8 and 2 million? I mean, come on.
Dude, if he's a top 15 pick, that's not what he's getting. He's getting a lot more than that.
Yeah, maybe, what is it, maybe 4-ish in that area?
I don't honestly know anymore, man. They change that stuff all the time.
More money than we'll see.
Well, yeah, and he's earned it because he's worked hard.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of working hard, cannot forget the other cats that got recognized this year, including they said Mr. Friday Night. I don't know about that, but he is Mr. Sam Houston Friday Night. I'll tell you that. Colton Atkinson, 3.62 ERA, 14 starts. He had a complete game shutout, 6-4 record, 79 2/3 innings. Gave up 32 earned runs, 19 walks, 73 strikeouts. Just pinpoint accuracy, Ben. And allowed 8 home runs, an opposing batting average of 259. He really, they got him for a balk. Whatever. I'm curious what you want to say about Colton and his prospects, even at the next level, and what he's meant to the team this year, because he's going to be one we're counting on here come tournament time.
Yeah, big start tonight. Obviously, probably maybe the biggest start of his career, but just an out-getter. I mean, doesn't really have the most impressive stuff. A lot of guys on the staff sit 94. He's a guy that's going to sit 88, 89, just locate really well, mixes pitches well, and he just gets outs. I mean, I think you said he had 14 starts. I feel like in maybe 10 or 11 of those, he went 6+, and so 8 innings for you was really good. I think if you take out the 2 starts that he had, I think it was somewhere late March, early April, I think he gave up like 14 earned runs over those 2 starts. So outside of those 2, I mean, really every start was really, really good. And that's what you need out of your Friday night guy. And he's been really good for us. Need him to do it again tonight.
Greg Maddux, I know in this day and age, and we talk about this, it's speed matters, yes, movement, whatever you want to call it. But listen, if you can locate pitches, you can throw strikes. It doesn't matter if it's 88 or 98. It's going to be hard to hit.
Yeah, and if you can move him around too, I mean, if he's got a really nice little fastball changeup 1-2 combo, which I think is what helps him a lot. That the changeup plays off the fastball, and so if you've got something like that, also, I mean, it doesn't really matter if you're throwing 88 or 98.
Okay, so here's a question, and this will really determine a lot of how he's viewed by Major League Baseball. Is he a potential 3-pitch mix starter guy in the pros, or is he a fastball changeup bullpen guy?
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough to say, and I think he's got 1 more year left, and so we'll see kind of how he develops. But I don't imagine he's going to develop a ton of more velocity, and he's kind of dependent on. I think he's got a breaking ball, and it's decent. But I think he might be more of a reliever, kind of a middle to long reliever. can play off his fastball changeup, maybe go through the lineup one time kind of thing. That's kind of how I see him. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, he's an out-getter though, which is what you need.
You know what he'd make?
What's
It
that?
hit me while you were talking about that. He would make a perfect 5 guy.
Like fifth guy in the rotation?
He's a perfect back end of the rotation guy.
Yeah.
Right? He's going to go out there. He's going to give you 6 average, solid innings. He's going to fill up the strike zone. There's going to be times he gets hit hard, and you've just got to accept that. But he's going to get a lot of outs too, because not every ball hit's going to go in play.
Right. Yeah, he could definitely do that fifth starter kind of middle relief role. I kind of feel like is where he'd fall into in the MLB.
We'll see. And you know what? Because he's there, that's not his ceiling. If he develops, like you said, during the offseason here, he develops another pitch or fine-tunes his third pitch, it'll really increase his value. So if he's starting right now and with time left at being a back end of the rotation kind of guy or long reliever, then he could very well move up to mid-rotation type of guy by the time he's done in Huntsville.
Or you could take the governor off the fastball and just say, go let it rip for 1 inning kind of thing. See what he does as a reliever. I know that can help some guys.
Yeah, I worry about arms when they start doing that stuff.
You never know. I don't know if it's the best thing, but it's a possibility.
It is a possibility. It's always a possibility. Hey, we had some more cats. Second team, speaking of pitching is probably the strength this year for the Bearcats, and quality starting pitching at that. And here we got the Saturday starter, who would be a Friday starter, I think, for a lot of teams probably in the conference, Michael Watson. And second team, I mean, he earned at least a second team this year.
Right. Yeah, he's a guy that made the jump up from the NAIA level, which is a big jump going up to Conference USA. And so it was cool to see his game kind of play at this level. Was a little inconsistent at times, but man, when he was on, I mean, it was 7 innings, no runs, 10 strikeouts kind of days. And he had probably a handful of those in conference play, which was really big. And so it was good to see him kind of make that leap. And then I know Chandler David's there on the screen also. He had a slow start to the year, but man, he came on strong as the year ended, showed why he's one of the top closers and back end of the bullpen guys in the country. And yeah, 2 big guys that played a big piece in this rotation this year.
Yeah, Watson was 6-1 this year with a 1.09 whip. That is really good. That's a very solid walks and hits per innings pitch for those who are not sure what whip means and why I would be talking so grotesquely on a Bearcat show.
His strikeout rates are impressive.
84 strikeouts, 24 walks, and he pitched 65 innings, 16 appearances, 12 starts. Really, what you're talking about, batting average against 204.
Yeah. And 84 strikeouts in 65 innings. I mean, that's putting him away.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he knows what he's doing. 3.88 ERA. Definitely going to be fun. Does he have more year? Does he have another year?
No, he's done. He's done after this year.
Well, then let's go ahead and do our little MLB thing with him right now, too. Where do we see a Michael Watson in professionals?
Yeah, this is definitely a, for sure, middle reliever, maybe getting into a high leverage spot. He sits 94, 95. And with his strikeout rate, that's what MLB teams love to see. Definitely could be a guy that they want to look at in the bullpen to get some strikeouts. And he's got the velo that can play out of the bullpen also. And 95 coming from the left side is it's pretty impressive.
It is. Do you think he is selected in the first 10 rounds, or do you think he's going to be held off a little bit later?
Yeah, I don't know. Coming from the NAIA level, no one really knew about him until this year, and then he kind of broke onto the radar late. So I don't know what his prospect status looks like, but it wouldn't surprise me if he got picked somewhere. It might just be maybe in one of the later rounds.
All you need is a chance.
Yeah, right? I think he can do something with it. He showed he can.
Yeah. All he needs is a chance. And you mentioned Chandler David. He has a 1.11 whip. He's 4-3 this year. 24 appearances, all of them out of the bullpen. 7 saves, 45 innings. He's given up 38 hits in those 45 innings, 51 strikeouts and 12 walks. He continues that trend of just filling up the strike zone, which, again, that's the key to winning baseball.
Yeah. And he's a guy that started the year with some really lofty expectations, had a rough start to the year. I know his ERA was up in the tens after his first couple appearances, and got it down to 3.6 at the end of the year. So started to look like himself from last year. This is a guy last year that I think he threw 10 innings over the last 2 games of the conference tournament, or maybe it was 8 innings, something like that, something ridiculous over the course of 2 days. And it was all scoreless. So he's another guy that's going to sit probably 94, has really good stuff. And when he's on, he's one of the best relievers in this conference and in the country.
He's got that bulldog inning that you want out of your bullpen. And I think that will play at the next level. I think that's going to give him a shot.
Yeah, and I'm very interested to see what he does. I'm trying to pull up what he did last year, what he does in this conference tournament, because, man, they worked him hard. He threw, let's see what it was, 7 scoreless innings in the conference tournament last year.
Wow.
And so I think he's a guy that they're going to really ride hard. They're in the back end of the bullpen if they need innings, especially if the starters don't go far. So expect to see a lot of Chandler David this week.
Yeah, well, and it's because he's got that bulldog in him.
Yeah.
You want him out there. You really do.
And he wants the ball.
He does. He does. That's the thing. They weren't the only ones. A couple of freshmen got some awards this year, from all freshman team awards this year, Ben. Jace Martinez and Ryan Peterson were on the all freshman team. What'd you see from them this year?
Yeah, I'll start with Ryan Peterson. He's a guy that really didn't pitch a lot to start the year. So I'll just continue with pitching. He didn't pitch a lot to start the year, but kind of became your Sunday guy towards the end of the season. Made a Sunday start, and then Marshall Wales was kind of an opener that led to Peterson for a couple of weeks also. And I think he's going to be in your weekend rotation next year. Really impressive stuff. Gets outs. Really liked what I saw from him this year, and I think he'll be in the rotation next year. Then Jace Martinez, I mean, it's tough to play shortstop as a true freshman at this level, and I think he did a pretty good job of it. And so I'm excited to see what he can do this year or this next year also. I'm trying to find his walk rate because I'm pretty sure it's something ridiculous. His batting average was a little low, but his walk rate was
47 walks in 168 at bats. His on base percentage is .416 for a freshman.
Yeah, so 416 on base. He only hit 238, so he's walking like 50. He's walking a lot.
Yeah, his on base. Well, he doesn't slug much either. His on base OPS was 731, but he brings you something you need at the bottom of the order there. Tied for the team lead with 4 sacrifice hits. Also, Ben, he was 14 of 15 on stolen bases. That's a number that plays.
Yeah, 14 stolen bases, good walk rate. Had his ups and downs defensively this year, but I think that's to be expected playing the shortstop position as a true freshman. But it's hard to find a good shortstop, and I think we've got one for at least 2 more years, which is really encouraging because I know coming into this year that was kind of the big question mark.
And to go back to the other freshman, Ryan Peterson, for a minute, I want to give him some kudos with his stats. He is the leader with anyone who has pitched more than 0 innings. Anyone with more than 1 appearance. Ryan Peterson has the lowest whip on the team at .96.
Yeah.
That is impressive.
He's going to be good. He's going to be really good. I think he was an all-state guy at kind of the 2 or 3A level. I think he went to Shiner High School, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
You are correct.
Yeah, but he went to Shiner, which is a small 2, 3A school, really dominated there, kind of fell under the radar for a lot of people. But he's going to be really good for years to come also.
14 appearances, 3 starts, 30 1/3 innings. He had 13 earned runs, 6 walks, 24 strikeouts. Again, there's a theme here, Ben, with this pitching staff, and a batting average against of .209. A lot of good things coming from Mr. Peterson here in the future.
Right. Yeah. And it's a pitching staff going into next year that loses a lot And I think it kind of softens the blow knowing that you kind of have a true rotation piece coming back, at least for the next couple of years, probably, in Ryan Peterson.
Hey, now I'm back.
There we go.
Let's see. Whatever. We'll get that out somehow. I don't know.
If not, it's a part of the process.
It's, sometimes you don't hit a button. And sometimes
you do, sometimes you don't.
Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But what I was saying that no one could hear is that we are a podcast on the Republic of Football Network and an extension of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Please like and subscribe to the podcast and follow us on the various social media platforms, including Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at March to the Pod. It's all one word. March, the number 2, the Pod. And again, thank you to those watching on the Dave Campbell's YouTube page. Ben, earlier look, the weather's nothing to joke about. We're not going to joke about the work that Taylor Andrus and his company at Eternal Roofing do. But we got to let them know it's not just roofs that this guy can do and his team. They do anything general contracting services you need, which means they can paint the interior, exterior of your home or business, install your gutters, garage doors. They can install floors, any woodworking, crown molding, shelf, repair any sheetrock. And I realize that we're recording this on May 22nd. But, Ben, each week, Christmas gets closer. And you better get on that calendar pretty quick.
I know, right? I mean, it feels like we were just saying to take him down, and now we're about halfway to Christmas, so we got to get moving on it.
Yeah, and I would get on their calendar because they do such quality work. They're going to put them up. They're going to take them down. Get on that calendar now before all those slots fill up for Christmas time. And let me tell you how you can get on there. And if you're watching on the Dave Campbell's YouTube page, you will see the numbers and website there that you can visit. And when you visit the website, eternalroofingtx.com, make sure you go to their gallery, look at the quality work that they put out with some of their recent projects. If you're in Montgomery County, give them a call at area code 936-215-8539. In the Hill Country, area code 830-251-5673. Or you can email Taylor directly at taylor@eternalroofingtx.com. We are very, very proud to be associated with them, and mainly because he loves the Bearcats. He's an alum, Ben. That's important to us.
Yeah, Bearcats supporting Bearcats is what it's all about.
Speaking of supporting things, we got some news coming here. And if you're watching on the YouTube page, you can see photos of stadium renovations beginning here. We got track removal pics right up there. We're putting the first 2. Now, these were last week. Is that right, Ben?
Yeah, this was Thursday morning or Friday morning last week. Work started, I think, on Thursday, and this was Friday morning last week.
And we have a picture from today. Bam.
Wow. Shout out to Colin Neal for the picture.
Yes. Shout out to him. But wow, look at that. The field's up, the track's up. It is moving along. This is going to be a fun little part of the renovations to watch as we get photos.
Yeah, interested to kind of see what maybe the turf design looks like, what it looks like with Bowers having turf across the entire field and no track. And it is a little funny seeing some goalposts in the middle of dirt, I guess.
Middle of nothing.
Whatever it is.
Whatever that is. Yeah, I'm interested. I'll be very curious about the design as well. I would be all for having Sammy Bearcat in the middle.
Which one, though? Walking Sammy, the new Sammy?
Oh, no, walking Sammy. I mean, come on. That's not a competition, Ben. We went over that a couple weeks ago.
I know. I just wanted to get you riled up about it.
The new one looks spastic, man. Like, good Lord. Get it to a professional.
Maybe we go the Boise State route and go all orange or something. Maybe they'll pull something crazy.
Yeah,
I don't think they will. I'm just dreaming here.
No, look. Huntsville, Texas.
The locals will not be happy about
And
some
they're
orange.
not gonna go crazy. It's gonna be traditional. We know that much. That's the good news.
It'll look a lot better than what we had, which is the big thing.
Well, progress is good. Progress, and this is progress. And speaking of Bearcat and Bearcat family, this is possible because a lot of Bearcat people and Bearcat family decided that they want to help put the money in to build this. I mean, that's how you get things done like this. You've got to have donors.
Yeah, and I mean, got the donor day a couple weeks ago, which I thought was pretty good, and you got to keep it going because this is just the first of many projects, and it's good to see things still staying on track. I mean, every timeline we've seen for stadium or turf over the last couple of months has come to fruition, which is good to see.
It is. So we are going to look at what Mike Craven has written for Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and you can find this at texasfootball.com. Mike Craven did a preseason power poll this week. Ben, I got to tell you, as I look through here, the Bearcats are 11th. And I'm a little surprised they're that high.
I think that's about right.
Man, I just got to know why he thinks Houston's going to be down bad.
So that was I had us ahead of UTEP and then maybe ahead of one of Rice or UNT, which I think would put us around 11. The Houston one was a little surprising to me.
The good thing about Rice is we'll know that on the field. Week 1, I believe it's 5 p.m. Central Time. It was announced today.
Yep. Yeah, that just got announced an hour or two ago, actually.
Dude, I'm on it right now, okay? Game, Corey, match. That's all that's happening right now, Ben.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So 11th, I'm good. 11th or 12th. I got to tell you, I am surprised he thinks that lowly of Houston, man.
I know, and I think everyone knows it's kind of a transition year under Fritz, but I don't think. I mean, what is that, a 3-9 Houston team then? Something like that? I mean,
is it worse?
I mean, maybe even worse.
I mean, honestly, like,
because they were 4-8 last year and beat us by 31.
If they're 2 wins this year, 1 win, I mean, you got rid of Dana, and I get it. Look, Willie wins everywhere he goes. Craven will tell you that right off the bat. He's going to build the program. That's not the question. The thing is, how far are they going to fall in year 1? And my worry is Houston Cougar fan base doesn't handle that kind of stuff real well.
No. Growing up around U of H alums and around that school, they do not like losing. I know Tillman Fertitta doesn't like losing, and I'm sure they won't like it even more when they keep investing money into the football facility with that new training complex going up. So they're going to expect to win and expect to win pretty quickly.
I have a feeling, I mean, patience is going to run out on Willie Fritz really quickly. And here's my problem with that. I don't even know why we're talking Houston, but we are. My problem with that is that it takes 4 to 5 years to build a program. And if you're expecting him to do it in 3, I think you're just expecting too much, especially if they're that far down at the end of this season.
Yeah, I think a 5-7 season for them would feel like a success in the Big 12. I feel like that would kind of be what they're shooting for. I feel like a bowl game would be great, but if you can go 5-7, I think people would be pretty happy at U of H.
Hey, funny you say things about best case, worst case, because Mike Craven, again on TexasFootball.com, did a piece. You can see it here. You're on Dave Campbell's YouTube page. There's the headline. Best case, worst case for Sam Houston this year. He did this on May 15th. Here's the schedule. We now know what time Rice is. Best case. Ben, let's talk best case scenario for Sam Houston. He says it involves a winning season and a first bowl trip as an FBS program. I got to tell you, I do think there is a chance of the best case scenario happening.
Oh yeah. I
don't know how big a chance though.
I mean, is 6-6 the best case, or is 7-5 the best case? Because I feel like 6-6 is very doable. Once you get to 7 or 8, that's when it starts to get a little more difficult.
Oh no, you'd be happy with 6. Like if you get 6 and you jump for joy for 6.
I'd say there's a 55-60% chance of a 6-win season.
That is interesting. I don't see it that high. I see it probably 35-40.
I mean, I think this team is, I wouldn't say significantly better, but it's a step above where it was last year. And I think you've got an easier schedule this year. Your conference schedule is easier with home and road opponents. If you can find a way to not choke multiple times kind of towards the end of games, I mean, I think 6 wins is very attainable.
What you call choke, I call lack of depth.
Which I think is part of why they're better this year.
I don't know if you can get significantly better on your depth in one
year.
year.
No, I think it's a tick or a step up.
So, last year I had them at 3 wins, I think 3-4. I think this year a 4-5 is kind of what I'm thinking. I haven't officially put my head down on that yet and dove into it, but that's what I'm looking at right now. I think a 4-5 is probably a most likely case.
See, I'm thinking 5-6 is kind of where they land. I had us at 5 wins last year. You had it at 3. I think you hit it right on it. But we'll see. If you go back up to that schedule, we could play best case. Like best case, you win Rice, you win Hawaii, you win New Mexico State. Texas State's going to be tough. You win UTEP, so that puts you at 4. You win FIU 5. You win Kennesaw 6. Maybe win La Tech 7. So I think there's 6 wins on there.
Okay.
But I can also see you could lose Rice. You could lose Hawaii.
Well, let me go through. I'm just going to give you general, really quick look at the schedule, thoughts on these games. At Rice, I'm going to give it about a 40% chance to win.
That's about right.
At UCF, no. Hawaii at home, you know what? I'm going to give you a 55-60% chance to win. It's not a guarantee there, of course, but that's a decent chance. Home against New Mexico State, man, I don't know that they've gotten up to that yet.
New Mexico State's going to be terrible this year.
Well,
I don't know if they went to. This isn't the same New Mexico State team.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's the problem right now is with this transfer portal. It's hard to know exactly what all has been kept and lost
right
throughout. No, I don't know just a whole ton about New Mexico State, but just based off previous history, I would say probably 40% chance to win that game. Now, Texas State, no, man, GJ Kinney's got it rolling there. I think they're going to be really solid this year. At UTEP, there's a good chance to win. It's hard to win on the road, but I'm going to give you probably a 50-55% chance because of the road factor into that right now. Home against Western Kentucky at 30, 35?
I mean, I think it's a toss-up. I mean,
there's a chance.
You were at the 5-yard line on the road on a short week last week. This year you got a bye week going into it at home. I think they lost their quarterback and best receiver in school history. They're going to be a good team. I think they win 7 games, but I'd say 40, 45. I don't think we're favored.
I'm going to have to really dig into these schedules of these teams when I look at this, see how many wins. Because that's what you just mentioned, something that's going to play a big role in this is amount of rest between games.
Right.
For a lot of these as well. So that's going to be important. At FIU, I mean, we feel it should be, but I'm going to put it at about 60. I can't go higher than that.
Yeah, I was going to say right around there.
La Tech, I mean, 55, 60 maybe, home.
I mean, you took it to them at their place last year, and I don't really
You
think
did.
they got that much better.
I don't know that they have. Kennesaw State, I think at Kennesaw, it is a road game. I think that lowers us back down to probably the 55-60% range.
Yep.
At Jack State, that's a tough game.
That's a hard one. Yep.
That's a hard one. I'm going to say it's about a 30% chance at best.
I mean, like I said, I don't think we're going to be favored, but it also goes back to I think we're a better team than last year, and you really coughed that one up last year. I mean, I think you were the better team that day, so don't think we'll be favored, but I think it's 35-40, somewhere around there.
Home against Liberty, what's your percentage? Because I think mine might surprise you.
I was going to say same thing, probably 40-ish.
I was actually going to say 40 for Liberty too, but the problem is those people freaking spend so much money.
Yeah, Liberty, and they've got their quarterback back.
They do. They do.
That's a big deal.
They're going to be tough. They're going to be tough. Okay, so we did best case there. Worst case scenario, Craven says this: the worry isn't competing, it is winning. And he's got valid questions here. So let's answer these one at a time. Can the same group of offensive linemen improve enough in one offseason to handle the FBS grind over 4 quarters? What say you, Ben?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be world beaters, but I think I said a couple podcasts ago this is probably going to be the 4th, 5th, maybe 5th best offensive line in the league, and not the absolute worst. You return everybody. I think you made an improvement at the coaching spot. You've brought in a tackle and a guard from the portal. I know that hasn't been announced yet, but you've got 2 of those coming in to add some depth, and it's year 2 in a new system. And so I think that I don't think they're going to be the worst. I don't think they're going to be the best, but if they can just be average, I think they'll be okay.
Why did my screen leave?
Oh, there we go.
There it goes. Well,
so will it be enough to handle it? I think it will be, but I can't say 100% on that one.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest question. That's the biggest question for me. And the reason why I might be a little less optimistic about this season than some others is because I'm not sure about the offensive line. That's the one that concerns me.
Right. And we'll see. I think there's high upside, but there's also the possibility it just looks the same as last year. So
now, here's a question. Answer this hypothetical. Can the running backs and wide receivers stay healthy enough to keep the entire playbook open? What say you, Ben?
This one, I'm going to say yes, and for 2 reasons. You just went through training camp or spring football with your pretty much 7th or maybe your 4th, 8th, and 9th best scholarship receivers, and the offense looked pretty good. So even if you got down to that point, I think you're okay at the receiver spot. At the running back position, I think you're 3 deep now. Another transfer that hasn't been announced, but a guy that had over 1,000 rushing yards recently at the FBS level is now with the team. So now you've got 3 solid backs. Last year you had 2. And so I think you've got more depth there. So I think they're going to be okay. Even if disaster strikes like it did last year, I think you're a little better equipped to kind of handle it.
That I agree. Now here's another one. Will the defense replace a few key cogs, including Trevor Williams? What say you, Ben?
Yeah, I think it's still to be determined. There's a lot to kind of see with this defense. It's a new scheme, some new players, obviously pretty much a brand new coaching staff. I think it's really going to depend on, can Kavian Gaither take that next step? He looked good last year. Obviously he wasn't Trevor Williams, but if he can be 80% of what Trevor was, I think they'll be okay. So a lot of it relies on him kind of taking that next step, and we'll see. I think that's another one that's kind of undecided.
I have another question for this segment of What Say You, Ben? Ready?
Okay.
If I told you the offense takes a tick forward, but the defense takes a tick back, and the net result is a net 0, what say you, Ben?
I mean, if they're the same, then I mean it's probably a 4 or 5 win team, because you had those 5 games last year where the ball just didn't bounce your way. Maybe 2 of them do. Now you're a 5 win team. So if they kind of equal each other out, I think we're more along the 4 or 5 win trajectory that you talked about. I think the offense is going to take a very big step forward, and the defense is going to take kind of a small step back, just kind of who they've lost. And so I think that will end up in a net positive, but obviously we'll have to see.
How much of a step forward does the offense need to take to overcome the defensive fall off that we'll have this year? What say you, Ben?
I think I love this kind of setup. I mean, if you can score 20 points a game in the non-conference, last year I think you scored 10 points in your first 3 games. If you could just be an average offense, I mean, even at its best, this offense was a 25-ish point team. If you could push that up to 30 points, I think you'll see a big change. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a big leap that they take, but we'll see.
Well, that was an interesting segment of What Say You, Ben. We need more of those, and to have more of those, we need people to send us questions, man. But what questions do you have for Ben? We could do an entire segment every week of What Say You, Ben.
And I'll give you the honest answer. We'll see.
Taylor Swift's new album has about 8 good songs. What say you, Ben?
I haven't listened to 8 seconds of it. So
what? What? I listened to the entire thing the first day it came out. I kid you not.
I just can't do it. But I've seen a couple things this last week where it's like the way guys are getting excited for NCAA football must be the way these girls are excited about Taylor Swift. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I can maybe see where they're coming from.
I'm a girl dad. I've got a daughter, and she's a big Tay-Tay fan. And so I got to keep up with it, man. I got to know. This way, when she starts getting crazy, I can put her in her place with Taylor, right? Like, Fortnite or something. Yeah, which is it weird? Boy, am I getting off on a tangent here. Is it weird that these chicks, like, their lives seem to revolve around these Taylor Swift CDs? Like, she puts out a heartbreak one, and my daughter's boyfriend breaks up with her right before it comes out. So, like, is this it? Do you think the universe is conspiring against the Taylor Swift fans? What say you, Ben?
I'm not knowledgeable enough on the subject, so I'll play.
Like I said, any of these questions, we'll ask Ben. Any question you have.
Yeah, life, sports, whatever it might be.
Marriage.
Yeah, we can do that.
Ben's got some great marriage advice.
I don't know about that, but I've made it almost 2.5 years, so I must be doing something right.
You can't tell, I'm being sarcastic.
There's Homer. He made his appearance.
There's Homer. He got him today. I was oh, goodness. All right. So worst case scenario, honestly, let's finish that up. I'm going to say worst case, probably another 3-win season at absolute worst.
Yeah, I think 3-9 is the worst. I think I want to say 8-4, but I don't think I can go that far. I think 7-5 is probably the best. And so I think probably 6 wins is where they end up. That's where I'm hoping they end up. I think they can do it, but obviously we'll see. There are some questions that have to be answered and some things that have to play out.
Hey, I have a question. This is another one along the lines of things we can turn in for What Say You, Ben. If the Bearcats go 3-9, how much pressure is there to change coach?
I think
what say you, Ben?
From a fan base perspective, there's going to be a lot. From an administrative standpoint, I don't think there's going to be much pressure. I think going into the next year, there would be. If you had 2 more of those years, I think there would be a lot. From the fan base, there's going to be a lot of pressure and heat. If it happens again, I think administratively, you would need to see 2 more of those years.
See, these are good answers. These are the questions people want to know, Ben.
And I mean, it's also it would be tough because you'd have to probably pay some sort of buyout. I think there is a buyout in Keeler's contract, not huge, but there is one. And two, you're going to have to find the money to pay a competitive salary and bring someone in. And so I don't know if it's worth firing Keeler if it did get there. So we'll see.
Well, I will tell you, for those of you listening who do not have the money to donate to pay out a coach and bring in a new one, but you still love Sam Houston and you want a way to support the Bearcats, I got you. Go to cat-fund.com. Ben, tell them what they can get when they go to cat-fund and how much it is, because this is how people like you and me, or at least me and some other people out there listening, can help the Bearcats.
Yeah, like you said, cat-fund.com. It's up there on the screen. All the money goes directly to the athletes here at Sam Houston. We don't take any of that money as people operating the collective. Little as $10 a month, you get access to things like exclusive content, merchandise, Cat Fund merchandise and apparel, meet and greets that we've had. I know we're about to go live here pretty soon with info on our Cat Fund golf tournament coming up in October. That's supporting the men's basketball team. So, definitely sign up today, become a member, and support these athletes.
Nice. You want to know something that I watched a little bit of the video last week, and I realized something, Ben.
Okay.
This face ain't made for full screen.
Half screen, right?
Oh, we're gonna spare the audience now. For those who do watch on the YouTube page, let me just let you know. If you stopped watching because you're like, my God, that's too much Corey, I'm with you. I backed it down a little.
A little,
right?
Emphasis on the little.
The boxes are smaller. Let's just put it that way. Hey, before we head into our third leg of the podcast, we want to give a final shout out to our friends over at Eternal Roofing. We've told you about how fast they can get you in, how great they are as people, what all they can do for you general contracting wise. But they can also help you if you've got a business, because they specialize in commercial roofing. They can accommodate your HVAC system, any other roof equipment you have, while ensuring minimal disruption to your operations during the installation or repair. And also, I told you earlier about the website, eternalroofingtx.com, which again is on the screen if you're watching on the Dave Campbell's YouTube page. And no, I do not get paid for every time I say that word, that phrase. Just throwing that out there. eternalroofingtx.com. They have a gallery. That gallery shows you things that they have done, recent projects. You can see how great it is. And they use Certainty shingles, which are known for just stunning beauty, and they last forever. Exceptional longevity, as long as you can do in a place that gets storms like we get, man. That's about all I can say for you there.
Well, not a big word, longevity.
I know. Jeez, man, what had happened to me? Did I get smart overnight? If you're in the hill country, you can give them a call. The area code is 830-251-5673. Montgomery County, area code 936-215-8539. Or you can email taylor@eternalroofingtx.com. All right. Hey, Ben, did you hear what happened with baseball last week when they played Jacksonville State? Oh,
I did.
Oh, it was a beautiful sweep.
A couple run rules mixed in to the sweep.
Well, this is – I know we always talk about it. Yeah, we want to play our best ball when we get to the playoffs. Of course you do, right? Who doesn't want to? But nobody can give you a formula necessarily for that. Like if you had told Coach Sirianni before the season, you're going to start good, then you're going to have ups and downs, and then at the end you're going to be playing your best ball going into the tournament, I imagine he would accept that. But if you talked to Coach Sirianni about a month ago and you told them they'd be playing their best ball going into the conference tournament, I don't know that he would have agreed with you.
Yeah, it was a very rough stretch, but the last 3 weeks it's kind of like a switch has been flipped. And I know the schedule's been a little easier, but I don't know if you would have won 9 out of 10 if you were playing the way you were, kind of in the middle of the season. So it's good to kind of see them start to turn it on, start to put together wins, find a way to get wins, and find a way to not lose games too. Seen some of that also. So yeah, it's
like
good to see them kind of
like
peaking
not stepping on home plate.
or not just stepping on third for a force out kind of thing.
Did you see the not stepping on home plate happened again in college?
Oh, everybody tagged me in it. I saw it right as it happened, and then everybody tagged me in it. I'm like, I saw it.
Note to self:
Well,
next time, tag Ben in anything you find with not stepping on home plate.
well, also so we had that happen this year. There were also 2 games this year. It happened to us once, and it happened to an opponent where the batter hit a home run and he passed up a runner on the base path. Happened twice in the same Houston game. So we've seen some weird stuff this year.
It happens. By the way, you know what's going on tonight? We're recording this on Wednesday. You know what's happening?
Some baseball.
Baseball, man, the Conference USA tournament. And by the way, here's an updated to the minute at 5:15 Wednesday night bracket update for you here. FIU and beat Western Kentucky in the first round, and DBU took care of New Mexico State. They have advanced. Western Kentucky, New Mexico State meet in the losers bracket. Right now, the male Texters are on top of Middle Tennessee 3-1. They are in the bottom of the third inning. All right, so I have a question for you, Ben. Another, what say you, Ben? If Western Kentucky loses to New Mexico State, are they an at-large bid into the baseball tournament? What say you, Ben?
No, I think there's 2 teams in Conference USA that are a lock no matter what happens this week to get into the tournament. That's Louisiana Tech and DBU. Outside of that, any other team that wants to get in is probably going to have to win the conference tournament. That includes Sam Houston.
Okay, so if Sam Houston gets to the championship game, that's not enough.
No, your RPI is 70 right now. You maybe move up to 60, somewhere around there, which probably isn't enough for an at-large.
Well, we got one thing, guys. We're either going home with a trophy or we're going home.
That's true. And I don't know if you remember, but about a month ago, I said we only had 2 conference losses that we could have the rest of the way, and I think we had 4 or 5. And so I think if we would have found a way to win 2 or 3 more conference games and you get to the title game, maybe your RPI bumps up to about 50 and maybe you've got a shot, but that didn't play out that way.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Okay, so let's get into this tournament from a Cats perspective. They have to win. So it's all hands on deck every game. It's going to be everybody. Everybody took the trip because everybody's got a chance to play. Hopefully it don't take that many. That said, they play Liberty tonight. They're going to have their ace on the mound, Mr. Friday Night. Okay, Ben, got another what say you, Ben, question. Can Mr. Friday Night be as effective, considering he's not a strikeout guy, and be a Mr. Wednesday Night? What say you, Ben?
You got to keep it going. Yeah, I think he's going to have a big night. His first outing against Liberty, he went 5 2/3 scoreless innings. So he's done it against them before. And something that I really like that the Sam Houston coaching staff did when they played Jack State is nobody hit their pitch limits. Atkinson can get up to about 110. I think he threw 55. Same with Michael Watson. I think he only threw 75 kind of thing. And so he should be well rested and ready to go. And all your arms should be. You threw a ton of arms this last weekend to keep guys fresh, which was something nice. And so I think he'll be ready to go. I think he's going to have a big night.
Yeah, no, that is a very important point that you make about how they handled that last week where they went and got another. They didn't wear out their arms in doing it, and that is huge going into this because you're going to need them. You have to win tonight against Liberty, but if you don't, obviously you got to win from there on out. So right now you're in a must-win phase is how you're looking at it. If Sam Houston loses in round 1, do they have enough pitching to get to the conference championship game? Because once you get there, it's anyone's game at that point.
I think they do, just because that's kind of the strength of this team. I think it would take the offense to really get going to get there, but I think the team has the depth to do it. I mean, heck, they lost the first game last year and found a way to do it, and they didn't have nearly as much pitching depth then. So I think they have it. Obviously, that's not the route you want to go. In a perfect world, you play and win today, you play and win tomorrow, and then you actually get a day off if you win those first 2, which is huge in a conference tournament. You hardly ever get a day off. And so I think worst case scenario, you lose game 1. I think you can still do it. Odds probably aren't in your favor. Best case scenario, you win the first 2 and you're set up really, really nicely to kind of make a run at it.
So if Colton pitches tonight, this is Wednesday, championship game is Saturday, Sunday. Okay, so it's Sunday. That's 3 days rest. If they're in the championship game, is he the starting pitcher?
I think he is. I mean, does he go 6 like he normally does? Probably not. But if he can give you three innings in a run, something like that, I mean, you take it. I mean, guys on 3 days rest can usually give you something. So, and it's all hands on deck. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Colton get the ball at least to start there in the championship game.
What would be a pitch limit roughly if he was to do it on 3 days rest?
I think it all depends on, 1, how the body feels, and 2, how he's doing. I mean, if 3 days rest and he throws 3 scoreless to start, maybe you let him go for 1 or 2 more if he starts to get roughed up. I think it's more of just a feel thing, not necessarily a pitch count, because he's a guy that, I mean, he can really get up there with the pitch count. I think he's got up to about 125 this year. So I think it's more just about a feel.
I'm going to say 60 to 80.
That's probably the safe, like 3 innings, 4 innings maybe.
4 innings max, right? 20. You figure 20 pitches an inning, 15 to 20 pitches an inning.
Yeah.
You hope for 15. You'll be okay with 20. Anything more than 20, and you're having a bad inning. That's how I view baseball.
Right. No, I agree with that.
So if you get 80 pitches, that could be 4 innings. That could be 5 innings. Heck, that, if he's throwing to enough contact, which he's a kind of a throw to contact type of pitcher,
Yep.
Then he could get you up to another 5-6 innings.
Yeah, and I'm interested to kind of see how they map things out. Obviously, it's going to depend on how they play, but they've already announced they're going Atkinson tonight. They're going Watson tomorrow. And then after that, I mean, Marshall Wales, he came back from injury kind of halfway, 2/3 of the way through the year. Not very stretched out, but he can give you 3 or 4. Gabby Coldiron could give you 5, 6, 7 innings. Ryan Peterson could give you 5 or 6 innings. So you've got 5 maybe legit starters that could give you at least 4 or 5 innings. And so I'm interested to see where they go kind of after these first 2 games, assuming you're still playing.
Would you trust a freshman to start in this conference tournament right now?
I think the way he's pitched, you definitely can. I think his last 10 innings, he's only given up 2 or 3 runs. But I also think it depends, are we 2-0? I'd feel pretty good about throwing him. But if we're down 0-2, I might go to Marshall Wales, even though he might only give you 4 innings, but he's a guy that did it last year. He pitched well in the conference tournament, came up really big. Maybe you go to that veteran presence. So I'd feel comfortable with it. Probably feel a little more comfortable if we're 2-0 at that point.
Oh, definitely. Well, look, I would go with a guy that's been there before, especially if it is, a season on the line type of thing, because that experience, there is no substitute for that.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, he's done it before. He's not extremely stretched out because he came back from an injury, but even if he give you 4 innings, I mean, you'll take it from a veteran that you know what you're going to get.
All right. One last question for What Say You Ben on this episode. Again, please send your questions in. I am very interested in what you want to hear Ben answer. All right. Do the Bearcats win the Conference USA baseball championship. What say you, Ben?
I don't think we're going to win it, but I just have a gut feeling we're going to get to the conference title game and not win. I don't know why I feel that way, but I think we're the third best team in this league. I know we're the 4th seed, but I feel like we're the third best team in the league. I feel like we're going to make it to the conference title game and lose. I hope I'm wrong, but that's just kind of my gut feeling. I don't know.
Oh, your gut feeling would be a gut punch.
It would. Man, it's going to be tough to probably beat DBU or maybe Louisiana Tech there towards the end. I mean, we'll see. This team's just been – I know they're hot right now, but the inconsistency worries me a little bit. I don't know. I think we can make the conference title game. I think we're going to make the conference title game, but we're going to lose. And I hate that I feel that way, but that's just the way I feel.
I think the way they're rolling into this tournament, they've got a lot of confidence, man. Confidence matters in baseball. I give them a good shot. They've got a puncher's chance this week.
Oh, yeah. What says you, Corey? What about you?
I don't know the conference well enough to know who else has any pitching. See, because that's what it comes down to. If Sam Houston has the best pitching staff, I'm going with the edge to the Bearcats.
I think they're number 2, probably behind DBU when it comes to depth.
See, that's who I would go with right now.
DBU is the 2 seed, but I think they're probably the favorite.
Yeah, DBU is the first off. They've been there a lot.
Yeah,
and they do have a lot of quality pitching. I think La Tech depends on, but La Tech does have home field. Don't forget, they're the Love Nest or whatever they call it.
Love Shack.
Love Shack or yeah, crazy people, those mail texters.
They can swing it, and their back end of the bullpen is very good. So
and they're at home, and let me tell you, they'll get a crowd. They'll draw some people there for that.
Oh yeah,
can't pull out the mail texters yet, but I think DBU is probably my favorite. Right behind that would be Sam Houston, just slightly ahead of La Tech. That's kind of how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, and I think Sam Houston. I mean, we could see those 2 teams meet up tomorrow night if they both win. And Sam Houston, that was a series where Sunday you don't step on third for the force out, you lose it in the 9th or 10th inning, and then you don't step on home in game 2 and you lose by 1. And so you got swept, but I mean, you can play with them. There's no reason why you can't beat them. Yeah, unfortunately, we're on the wrong end of the sweep.
Yes, that was not a good sweep. That was not good.
No.
All right. Well, Ben, thank you. And we want to give a thank you to all of you listening and to those viewing on Dave Campbell's YouTube page. I swear I don't get paid for every time I say that. Without you, none of this is even possible. Until next time, Ben, take us out with something that's going to get us a conference victory.
Eat 'em up, cats, and bring home some hardware.
Oh, no gut punch.